This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLTS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. This week on the Heart of the Golts YouTube show, we sit down with musician/songwriter Emily Ann Roberts. In our Walk the Line episode, Emily performs a brand new song from her album, Can't Hide Country, the Deluxe Edition. Let's check out the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch. I'm your host, Tony Mendoza, and today I'm super excited. We got someone from Knoxville, Tennessee. And not only from Knoxville, Tennessee, she just released her latest album, Can't Hide Country. The deluxe version comes out April 19th. The one and only Emily Ann Roberts in the building.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. You look gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That is very
got the boots
sweet.
and everything. Looking good.
Well, thank you. I knew that you were going to have a camera on me, so I wanted to get pretty for you.
I appreciate it. And also, I appreciate the awesome producers in the back over here. What's up, y'all? I know. They ain't got a mic, so.
Yes.
So, Emily, I'm excited to have you in. A couple of things that I saw right off the gate, Knoxville, Tennessee, East Tennessee.
Yes. I am so proud to be from East Tennessee. I think it's the best place to be from. But everybody probably feels that way about their hometown. And if they don't, then that's sad. But I love where I'm from.
I heard that you just got some chickens.
I did just get some chickens, and I love those little boogers so much. I just look at them every morning and every night, and I'm like, your mama loves you. And they don't know I'm their mama. And I'm not really their mama, but I'm their new mama. But I love them, and I'm excited to have some chickens. It'll be a new adventure.
Well, you know, I even heard a song that you made about chickens.
Yes, and that's why I knew I had to get chickens. I've got a song called Chickens. I don't even have any chickens. And me and my husband bought our first house like a year and a half ago, and we've got a big old yard now, and so he's going to build us a coop. But right now they're just babies living in our little garage under a light, and hopefully doing good. I don't know, they can't talk to me, but they seem happy.
Well, you know, I appreciate the love for the chickens out there. And not only that, so talk to me about, you know, growing up in East Tennessee, in Knoxville. I mean, I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
That's awesome.
And I've driven across Knoxville a few times, even went to go see Texas A&M get their butts whooped by the Vols. But speaking of which, talk to me about Knoxville and being home and just feeling that home cooking and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, all my family's always been from East Tennessee, and so it was all that I had ever known, and I had never thought that I would leave East Tennessee until I went on The Voice and came to Nashville and realized, you know, okay, if I'm going to do country music, I've got to move to where it's happening. You know, my daddy always said, if you want to sell surfboards, you got to move to the ocean. And so I thought, okay, I've got to move to Nashville if I want to make country music. And so that's what took me out of it. But I never thought that I would leave. And I grew up around the Appalachian Mountains, and Mom and Daddy always took us to the mountains. That was like our vacation. That's all we did. And anytime we had free time, we'd always go up to the Smokies, and the music and the scenery and everything that is around and in East Tennessee made me the woman that I am. And when I write and when I go and perform and when I talk, it just comes out in everything that I do.
Well, you know, one thing that you brought up is you can't hide country, right? And you can't hide the way you speak.
Yeah.
But more importantly, you know, one thing that resonated with me personally about your story is I'm very close to my father. And your father means so much to you. And the story about your father learning to walk again, my dad is dealing with ALS, and he's losing the function to walk.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, you know what? You talked about it in a previous interview that prayer angels. My dad is the biggest person. He has big faith, humongous faith, and you know, it never stops him. He goes every single day. Shout out to you, Dad.
Yeah, shout out. That's awesome.
But I want to talk about that connection there, because your dad, tell them the story about how your dad really, you know, was going through his struggles, and he's such a tough guy that he didn't give up.
Yeah.
And that's so important for people to know.
Oh, yeah. Well, my daddy fell and broke his back when he was 21 years old, and he was serving at a Baptist youth camp in East Tennessee, and that's what he thought he was going to do. He thought he was going to work in ministry and move my mama up to that camp, and they were going to live there, and that was what they were going to do after they got married. And he was doing something that he always did. It was nothing out of the ordinary. He was showing the kids how to climb the rappelling tower, and he just pushed off and thought that he wasn't as high up as he was, and landed on his feet and broke his back. And the doctors told him he would never walk again. He was supposed to marry my mama in like 2 months. And he fell on my mother's 21st birthday, and she went to the hospital to see him, and he just cried and said, "Will you still marry me if I can't walk?" And she said, "Do you remember who I am?" And he said, "Yes." And she said, "Okay, I'll marry you." She didn't care about anything other than just him being there and being alive. And but my dad was determined to walk again. And they postponed their wedding. And he started in a wheelchair. And he went to a walker, and then he went to 2 canes, and then 1 cane, and now he just wears braces up his legs, and he has not let it hold him back. But yes, absolutely, applause for that. Go Tommy. But he has been such an inspiration my whole life, because my dad has never been somebody that has let his circumstances define him. And I think that that is something that we could all learn from, because life is hard, and we're going to have things come our way that make us want to throw in the towel and make us want to say, okay, well, is life even worth living? But we can't let our circumstances dictate our joy or our peace. We have to look to something higher. And for me, that's my faith. And for my daddy, that's his faith. And I'm so thankful that he never gave up. And even now, he has had so many obstacles in his life and in his path, but he has never given up. And I wrote a song about that called Keep On, and I wrote it because he had just gone through open heart surgery, and you have to go to like physical therapy and like little workouts after you have open heart surgery. They make you walk on the treadmill and stuff. And anyways, he had done that for a month or so, and he had one morning where he was just real tired. And he said, I'm so tired. I don't know if I can go. And my mama said, "You've not missed a single one of your sessions." She said, "You don't have to go if you don't want to." And he thought about it for a minute, and he said, "Nope, you don't give up." He said, "You keep on going." And he got up and got showered, and he went and did it. And it just stood out to me so much, because I have not gone through half the stuff that he has, but there's been plenty of times in my life where I've wanted to give up. And I'm thankful that I've had somebody like him to look up to know that if he can keep on going, I can keep on going too. You know, we all can believe that our best days are ahead of us, and keep on going.
Well, I love that story. And, if it wasn't for your dad taking videos of you on the iPad,
yes,
you would never have gone to The Voice.
I know. Okay, my little daddy, he's my biggest fan. And he used to record videos of me, like you said, on an iPad, nothing fancy, and post them on YouTube just for like friends and family to be able to watch. I didn't have like a following on YouTube or anything. But one of those videos was seen by a casting producer for The Voice, and they emailed and invited me to come to an audition, and the rest is history. So I owe that all to him. Well, you know what? I have to ask, because we've had a few folks sitting in that chair right there that have gone through the exact same kind of process, but with different shows. Tell the people what it's really like behind the scenes with the commotion of videos and interviews, and you really learn how to become a working musician. Oh, yeah. It's not just your talent. The talent is what you guys see every day. And shout out to y'all. I haven't talked to you guys at all. If you guys have a talent, would you suggest for them to join something like The Voice or something like that? How much did it teach you? Oh gosh, I can't recommend it enough. It was absolutely incredible, and I learned so much. It was like a crash course, like you said, because a lot of times you turn on those TV shows and you see the folks singing, you see them performing, but you don't think about all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes of the interviews and the red carpets and the hair and makeup and the wardrobe and the rehearsals and all of that stuff. And it showed me that anything you're doing in music is so much more than just getting on the stage and singing a song. And that's what I always thought it was. But it is work. It's really hard work. And I'm thankful that I was able to learn that from a young age, to see all the work that went in to being able to get on the stage and sing the song, because it prepared me when I got off the show to really dig my heels in and get to working. All right. That sounds amazing, because it was.
But talk to me about the fumbles. There must have been some times when the cameras went on and you may have missed a word, you may have missed a mark. I mean, how scary is that to do that on live TV?
Absolutely. There were plenty of fumbles. And I look back at my performances and there are things that I look at and I'm like, oh, I'm proud of that. And then there are things that I was like, oh gosh, I wish that didn't live on the internet forever. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure and it is live television. And as much as you want to be perfect, none of us are perfect. And so there were definitely some slip ups, but the biggest thing that I took away from it was trying to just do your best with where you're at. There was a part of the show that I had mono when I was on the show, and I got sick as a dog, and I had to sing for the knockout rounds, and I was so sick.
That's so scary.
It's so scary.
Oh yeah.
And you want to just say like, I can't, like I'm sick as a dog, but you also can't do that. I mean, this is like the opportunity of a lifetime. So you've got to just say, okay, I might be at 30%, but I've got to give all of the 30% I've got to give. And that was a good lesson to learn, because I am the first to want to be as put together as possible, but sometimes you're just not. And that's okay, because hopefully it's encouraging to other folks when they don't feel like they have it all together. None of us do, Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people don't realize, because as being an artist and in being the industry, right, we don't realize sometimes that what we do is just our job. And it's like when you're on all the time, when we talk about The Voice, when we talk about when you were just on tour recently, which you just got out. So
yeah,
shout out to that. And what was that one called? That was Back to the Honky Tonk tour.
Tonk, yeah.
And my gosh, it's just, you got to be on when you're a musician and just in the lamplight, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, going back to The Voice a little bit and talking about Blake Shelton.
Yeah.
And what it was like to work with him. Obviously, from Knoxville, Tennessee, there must have been a connection there. Being country, Blake Shelton's country. And I mean, it's what was that relationship like? And is it still flourishing today?
Yeah, it was incredible to be able to work with him. I had never worked with anybody like famous before. I never met anybody famous before. And so I didn't know what to expect. But he was awesome because he was so down to earth. And so like immediately I just felt comfortable. I felt at ease with him and working with him. And one thing that really stood out to me, and I love thinking about this story in this moment, because when I got off the show for a little bit, some of it's pre-recorded and then you go back out for the live rounds. And all the pre-recorded stuff happened, and then I went back to high school for like a month because school had started. And so I was in school, but I was also on The Voice on TV, which was weird. And there was another guy on my team and on my season. His name was Zach. And all of my friends back home thought he was just a doll. They loved him. And they had the biggest crush on him. And so I would sit at the lunch table and people would be like, do you have his phone number? Can you FaceTime him? And all my friends wanted to talk to him. So when we got back out for the live rounds, I told Blake, he asked me, like, how's it been since you've been home? If people recognize you, and what do your friends think, and what does your family think? And I was talking to him about it, and I was like, but all my friends just care about Zach. They just want to, they want to talk to Zach. But he was so sweet to always just like be an encouragement and try to make everybody feel comfortable. And then now I just got off tour with him, and that was incredible. I'll take all the applause for that. That was a big accomplishment. That was something I had been working towards and praying for so long.
Some big stadiums.
Oh my gosh. To be able to go out and support him on the road and sing in those venues to those folks. I mean, it was something that was just a dream come true. It was a huge, I don't know even how to say it other than a dream come true.
Is it true that on those tours, I asked this with a few folks, that on tour buses and on these events, right, where you're going all over the country, is it normal for people to play pranks?
Yes, and I played a prank, but I wish that pranks had been a little bit like more intense. I wish that there had been more pranks.
I don't think you'd want that.
No, I did.
Katie had to deal with a snake in her dressing room. That's kind of crazy.
Okay, no, I don't want anything like that.
That's what I'm saying. You don't want that kind of level of that. That's too much.
Yeah, I don't want anything like that. But I didn't get pranked. And I don't think Blake got pranked, but Dustin got pranked. He sings that song, Thinking About You, and he didn't have a duet partner the whole tour. Yes. And so I was asked by his team, they said, like, we want to prank him and the band and have you come out and just sing. And at first I thought, oh gosh, like what if he gets mad? Like what if he don't want me to crash his set? But his tour manager literally looked at me and he was like, oh, he won't get mad. He was like, just don't suck. And I was like,
wow.
Okay. So I planned all of it out and figured out when I was coming out, and I got me a little Dustin Lynch t-shirt to wear, and he was like totally oblivious to me coming out. And I walked up the back of the stage, and he always says, like, everybody help me sing Mackenzie's part. And he starts singing it. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm singing with him, and he doesn't stop singing. And I'm behind him, and I'm like, can he not hear me in his ears? And so finally, I had to like walk up and grab him and like pull him around like, bro, I'm singing with you. And he told me afterwards that he was like so mad in the moment because he thought that they were playing Mackenzie's part. Like he heard it, but he thought it was like the recording, and he freaked out. And he was like, "Why would they do that to me?" And then it was me. And then he was happy. But he said in the moment, he was like, "What is going on?" But then he got excited when I was on stage, so it worked out.
And you can find all this on her YouTube page right now, where you guys did a great behind the scenes, and I love watching behind the scenes is how things are made. You did it for a few of your music videos. Mm-hmm. But before we get into all that, I want to talk about, do you remember your first ever autograph?
My first autograph.
First autograph.
It probably would have been when I got home from The Voice. Yes. Okay, now this is crazy. But when I got home from The Voice, there were folks from East Tennessee that came to the airport with like signs and with all their mamas and daddies and their kids, and the airport was just filled with strangers and some people that I did know, but mainly strangers that came to like welcome me home from being on The Voice. And that was the first time that I signed anything. And it was really cool to see, but it was also overwhelming because I was just 17 years old and I thought like, y'all are here for me? Like, I'm nobody special, but they thought I was somebody special. And so that was crazy. But yeah, that would have been the first time.
Is that the Southern roots coming out? Because, if you are on a television show with 8 million viewers, mm-hmm. you're somebody special. And not only that, it shows people that you're able to accomplish something that people can only dream of. That mm-hmm. is something that is not very, and people that are watching this right now that have that same exact dream of being on TV. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have so much to be proud of, and I think there's so many people that are proud of you for seeing how far you're going. And speaking of going, before I take this break, because we got to thank the sponsors of the show, but one thing that I do want to talk about is your first EP.
Yeah.
Your first album, right? It hit number 2 on the Billboard chart. So shout out to that. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
What was that process like creating that?
My first EP will always be special to me because it was the first little project that I ever did, but I was still figuring out who I was, and I was still trying to ride that line of trying to be true to myself, but also trying to please everybody else that told me you need to sound like this and you need to sing like this and you need to sound more like the radio and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so that first EP, there are so many things about it that I hold near and dear and I love about it. But I also, when I think about that project, I think about a little girl that was still trying to figure things out. But I'll tell you what, it did do well. It was number 2 on the Billboard charts, and it did well. And a lot of folks were able to hear about me through that project, and I'm thankful for it. And I still sing songs off that project. But I learned a lot of lessons, and that's something that I'm thankful for. No matter what I have done in this business, whether you feel like something is a big old success or whether you feel like something could have been better, it's always a win because you always learn something from it. And that's how I try to look at everything in my life. I try to learn as much as I can with whatever I'm doing. And I learned a lot of lessons doing that project.
Well, I love it. So when we come back from break, we're going to talk about your newest project.
Yeah.
We're going to play a little game, and I'm excited to do this game. And we'll be right back right after this.
Wintertime is almost over. Spring is on the way. So fellas, it's time to pull out your junk and assess the damage. Trim those hedges, mow those lawns. And no, I'm not talking about grass. I'm talking about what's in between your... Manscaped new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Whether you're going for a trim or that clean-shaven look, This trimmer has you covered. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLDS20 for 20% off plus free shipping.
All right, so Emily, I'm super excited to know more about your recent project. So talk to me about, first of all, what is it like to be with Emily Ann and seeing her writing process? Do you have to have certain kind of things like some candles going or incense? What's it like in the studio with you?
You know, I'm kind of boring. I don't need anything like special or in particular other than I don't need to have an empty stomach, because if I'm hungry, I can't think about nothing. And I've learned that the hard way. When I'm writing or working, if I have not had a good old breakfast or something like that, then I can't think about nothing. And so that's the only thing that I have to have. But, you know, working with me in a writer's room, I'll be the first to say that I wouldn't call myself like a true lyricist. I'm really big on melody and I'm really big on idea. I know exactly what I want to say, but I really lean on lyricists to help me say it the best way that I can.
You know what I learned? There's a few things I learned. So doing this show, not only have I got to talk to some amazing songwriters, and real quickly, you know, can you shout out some of the songwriters that help you along this process?
Yeah, Autumn McIntyre is one of my favorites to work with. Trent Willman, my producer. I love working with Jeremy Spillman. Trent introduced me to him. I've been loving working with my buddy Carson Peters. He is a youngin' just like me and loves that traditional country music. That's just to name a few. But Michael Farron. If I'm not shouting out everybody, I love you. Okay, I know I love you. But it's hard to name everybody. But those are just a handful.
See, and that's the beauty of Nashville, right? Nashville is a city like unother all across the United States because everyone here is so creative, and there's people that are excellent communicators. There's excellent lyricists. There's excellent song musicians, and we're talking studio musicians, some of the baddest boys out there. But also, you know, talking about, you know, your path and learning everything. I just found this out the other day. When I see EPs, I don't realize that every single song, there's a price for every single song that an independent artist has to pay for each individual song. I never realized how expensive it is to create an EP. And is it stressful as an artist to think about, you know, hey, I want to create this EP, but it's hard for me to come up with the funds to create an EP. Is that ever difficult? Is that scary?
Oh gosh, yeah, money is stressful. And trying to do this is stressful because there's not money in it for a really long time. Really I feel like I'm finally getting to a place, and it's just because I'm out on the road and touring and working as hard as I can. But I'm finally getting to a place where I'm like, okay, I can help pay bills too. My sweet little husband, he has been like the steady income for years, ever since I started doing this. And the first 4 years that I was in Nashville, I lived with my aunt and uncle in their spare bedroom. And I'm so thankful for that because I wouldn't have been able to afford to live anywhere. I wasn't making any money. And so it can be really stressful, but the reward is great if you can stick with it and figure out a way to make money to live and then do music. But it'll definitely come, but it's hard. It's really hard.
Well, you can't hide country. And, you know, talking about that, can't hide country and creating this amazing album. I mean, talk to me about some of your favorite songs that pop out and some of the favorite songs you like to play out in the crowd, because we just talked about it. You just got off a tour, and it is honestly so cool to see how many lives you touch from just your music. So what are some songs from your album that you really, really love?
Oh, gosh. They're all my babies.
They have to be.
They are all my babies. But, okay, for a song that is just fun and always like gets everybody going is my song Whole Lotta Little. That's one of my absolute favorites to do. It just like lights up the room, and I love seeing folks have fun. That's really like my favorite thing about what I get to do is being able to hopefully lift people's spirits. I know for me, when I go to a concert, it's so encouraging because you can literally forget like everything going on in your life and in your world just for an hour and a half or however long that show is, and just lean into whatever's happening in that room. Music can just like transport us to a whole nother place, and I'm really thankful I get to be a part of that. And then another one that I love to be able to perform is my song The Building, which is a song about my faith, and it's a song about my home church that I was raised in. And I love doing that song because even for folks that maybe aren't in church or don't share the same faith as me, I've heard that it takes them to a special place in their life too, that changed their life forever.
You know, you talk about your faith. It's so beautifully seen. You're never shy to express your faith. And I cannot express how great that is. Coming from a Catholic over here, that when I feel bad sometimes, I like to do the sign of the cross, and people will see me. I did it at the gym today. And people wonder why. It's because when I have doubt and when I question what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Talk to me about imposter syndrome. Because you talk about it, because when I have imposter syndrome, thinking about us talking today, I was just like, I did the sign of the cross and I said, well, God has me on a mission for something.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is, but we out here today.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
What, talked about that imposter syndrome. Did it happen at all while you're creating this album? And does it happen today?
Yeah, it happens all the time. All the time I feel like, who am I to be doing this? And how did I get here? And I'll tell you, probably where I felt it the most in my whole career and in my life so far was at my album release party. A lot of times when you're making music and you're recording the music, and even if you're like posting stuff online and promoting it, it doesn't, that it's like connecting with people and you're putting yourself out there, but you don't actually like see the people. Like it might just be like a number on a screen. Like, okay, 1 million people saw my song. Okay, but that's just like a number and it doesn't feel like real.
No, it doesn't.
But at my album release party
in Knoxville,
we sold it out and I was so blown away by that. And right before I went out, I got so overwhelmed. I cried. And nobody knows this. I don't even think I probably talked to my husband about it, but I haven't talked to anybody about it. But my whole band was already downstairs, and it was about time for me to go on, and I had to step away and take a deep breath and pray, because I thought, all of these people are here to see me. They bought a ticket to hear what I have to say. And like, who am I? What do I have to give? And I felt so small in that moment. And I just prayed and said, Lord, fill me up with whatever it is that these people need, because on my own, I feel weak, and I'm thankful that, and that is why I talk about my faith so much, because my faith helps me so much. I wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff I do without the Lord. And I don't talk about it to try and preach. I don't talk about it to try and convince anybody of anything. I talk about it because it is my hope and my peace and my strength. It all comes from Jesus. And so the only reason I share it is because if it helps me, maybe it'll help somebody else. But if that ain't your thing, then whatever. But that's why I share it, because my hope is that it'll encourage somebody the way it encourages me. But yeah, I get that a lot. And when I start feeling like, am I doing the right thing? Am I supposed to be doing this? Am I good enough to be here? Do I have what it takes? Because all of us have those thoughts. When those thoughts come into my mind, I always go back and I think about like, how did I get here? And I think about the fact that I was a little girl just doing what I loved, and doors started opening that I didn't have to kick down. The doors just started opening. And so when I start thinking maybe I'm not good enough and maybe I need to walk away, I remind myself, Emily, you didn't open these doors in the first place. The Lord did. These things, these opportunities came to you, and you kept walking through these open doors. So who are you to now say, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore because I'm not good enough? No, you keep on going. You keep doing your best. You keep showing up, and the doors will keep opening. And that's what I remind myself, that it's not on my shoulders. The things that are for us won't go by us. And so we don't need to stress thinking like, oh, I've got to make something of myself. No, you just keep doing your best and keep showing up, and what's for you won't go by you.
Well, I love that. One of my favorite quotes is, they make a lot of machines in the gym to build up your muscles, but there is no machine out there that builds your heart.
Wow.
And that the most important thing about it is what's in your heart. And first of all, if you're not riding with God on this side, you can keep rolling, because that's one thing that we're going to always shout out here in the Heart of the Gulch, and you believe that. Now, speaking of which, and we're still going to go down to some more music, because your EP, your deluxe EP, is going to drop soon. But, you know, I have a question. How much of a fan are you with Lizzie McGuire?
Oh, I love Lizzie McGuire. I was raised on Lizzie McGuire. Actually, I literally stood in an empty arena on the last show that I played on the Blake tour and had a little jam session with "This Is What Dreams Are Made Of."
You know, it's funny you say that, actually, because, you know, right to your right side, you got some sunglasses.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you if you could put these on real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to do the same.
Oh, gosh.
And, you know, I'm excited because I've never sang with someone that is been on The Voice.
Are we about to sing together?
Oh, stop it now. Come on now.
Now, let me do it.
Have you ever seen such a beautiful night?
Oh, my gosh. I hope I remember the words. I can only thank the stars for shining so bright.
Yes, ma'am. When I see you smiling, I go,
Oh.
there is only one thing. I can't remember it. Hey now, hey now. This is what dreams are made of. Come on, give it to me.
Hey now, this is what dreams are made
Finish it up here.
of. I got somewhere I belong. I got somebody to love. This is what dreams are made of.
All right, we need an applause for that, because that is something else right there.
Okay.
You know-
well, how did you? I needed to brush up on my Lizzie McGuire, but that was pretty fun.
You know, that was one thing I was nervous about this. In doing all this, I was kind of nervous that I was going to forget the words, and you were doing such a good job
Of showing that I forgot the words too.
You know what? But we rocked it, and you did it. I've never sang with someone that's been on The Voice before, but now I feel like I have the power.
You do.
Oh my gosh. So all you folks out there that love Hillary Duff and Lizzie McGuire, you just witnessed us do it just right here on the show. I try to make sure that they didn't know about it too much, but
I love that.
what was it like? So yeah, talk to me about Hillary Duff real quick. You know, talk to me about growing up, loving, you know, Lizzie McGuire. I'm a little older, so, you know, Lizzie McGuire was in my older stages, but, you know, my sister, my girlfriend's about to freak out that we just did that. So, you know, talk to me about what it was like, you know, in the stadium that you were at, and you can find it right now on YouTube, and going there and just talking about what dreams are made of, being in a stadium with hundreds, maybe even 1,000 or so fans, you know, screaming your name and feeling like you're in a Lizzie McGuire movie.
Oh gosh, it's surreal. It's really crazy. I have to pinch myself all the time because I grew up watching, like you said, Lizzie McGuire and Hannah Montana. I wanted to be Hannah Montana. Like, that was the dream. I thought for years, I always loved to sing, but I was like, I want to be on Disney Channel. Like, I want to be an actress. And that was because I loved Hannah Montana. And so growing up and watching all that, and then now living that is wild. But my family and my husband, they all like bring me back down to reality, because it's very interesting to like go sing in an arena with a bunch of fans, and it's such like a high. And then you come home and you've got to like do your husband's dirty laundry and clean the dishes in the sink. So it's a very interesting dynamic, because you're like on such a high, and then you get back to like reality, and you're like, this is real life. You know, this is my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love it when I'm on stage, but I love those moments off stage too. But I'm thankful I got to look up to folks like Lizzie McGuire and the Hannah Montana stuff, and because that inspired me as a little girl to do what I'm doing now.
I love that. And, you know, that's actually why I decided to do that, is because I think about us growing up and how important it is to have role models. Mm-hmm. And those role models influenced us to do what we're doing today. Mm-hmm. So that was why I played Lizzie McGuire.
I love that.
And, you know, speaking of that, and speaking about Lizzie McGuire and, you know, growing up, what is it like today when you think about where you are, mm-hmm. And, what it's like to have that moment when you're in the studio, you're just doing your job of creating great music. And then having to do all the things that come with developing an album, creating a music video, all the promo. I mean, it's amazing that you're here in our seat today. We applaud that because thank you so much. But I mean, it's not easy work, and people don't realize how much work goes into delivering anything from an EP to an album, and let them know like how real difficult it is to really make that into fruition. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll tell folks, especially if anybody's listening that wants to do music and wants to get more into this, you have to wear a lot of hats because nothing's handed to you in this business. And you can write the best song and you can even record the best song, but if nobody hears it, you've got to learn how to market your music too. And that's something that is an interesting thing, especially nowadays, because social media has taken over the world, and in one way it's a lot of work, and it can be a burden at times to feel like promoting a record and promoting your artistry and your music is on your shoulders. And in one way that can feel like a burden, but in another way it can kind of feel like the world is your oyster, because you can look at that as an opportunity to say, I have so much opportunity to get my music out there just by making videos and posting them online. And that has been interesting to see, because I got to town in summer of 2016, so it'll be 8 years this year. And that TikTok was not a thing. Instagram, of course, was like a thing, and Facebook was a thing, but it wasn't driving the ship the way that it does now. Now social media really seems to be driving the ship for artists. And there are some artists that are selling out arenas that have never had a song on the radio, which was not the case just a couple years back. But now we have so much opportunity to have influence just on our cell phones, and so that's something that I think people don't realize a lot of too. I think a lot of people think, and there's huge teams, and there's I'm so thankful for my team that helps.
Yeah, you got to shout out the team real quick.
Oh gosh, yeah, I've got the best team. I've got the best team in the world. I've got so many people working to help make my music a success as well. But a lot of it does fall on the artist's shoulders. And if they are not driving the ship, then the ship ain't going, because nobody's going to believe in you as much as you believe in you.
And you do such a great job of promoting that on your social media. I can't express how much I love to see whenever your videos pop up on my feed. And the coolest thing is that you're really open to sharing who you authentically are. Oh. And a question to that is, have you ever shown some of your favorite road foods? When you're on the road, what is your favorite food to eat on the road?
Taco Bell.
Oh gosh, really?
Yes.
What is it at Taco Bell? What is Emily Ann's Taco Bell order?
Well, I love the whole menu. I actually ate Taco Bell last night, and I wasn't even on the road. It's just because I love it. Okay, so you can never go wrong with just like a ground beef taco, just soft taco, no lettuce, please. Okay, so those are like a little, like, the Chips Ahoy cookies that you can eat like 12 of because they just are gone so fast. That's how a Taco Bell taco is for me. It's just like 2 bites and then it's gone. So like, give me 4, but just a taco. But then I also love, they used to have a Nacho Supreme, but now they have a Nachos Bel Grande. It's a little bit bigger, but Nachos Bel Grande, no beans or tomatoes. I also love a cheese quesadilla, extra sauce, because that sauce is delicious. And then I also love a Mexican pizza, which those are back on the menu. I could go on and on.
First of all, thank you for sharing us the whole menu of Taco Bell. We appreciate that. And for the folks out there right now, this is not sponsored by Taco Bell, but you guys can go grab yourself what do you call it? An extra large what? It was a...
Oh, well, you can get a Nachos Bel Grande.
There you go, a Nachos Bel Grande.
Anything you want there. It won't let you down.
I love it because, first of all, one thing that pops up a lot on the show, and you guys know this, is food. That is one thing. And we're living in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville has so many things, from musicians to the greatest songwriters to if you had to pick one spot on Broadway, one of the bars to go in, and if you just wanted to listen to some music.
Oh,
not just have fun. I'm just saying, if you want to listen to some great covers, that's what it is. where would you go?
I'll tell you what, the only place that I go on Broadway, if I go to Broadway, is Ole Red. I love Ole
Really?
Red. Ole Red is chill to me.
It is chill.
To
No,
other
you're
places.
absolutely right. It is chill.
Yeah, Ole Red's awesome because I feel like in the midst of all the hustle and the bustle, it's not as hustly and bustly. And so I enjoy that because I'm not a big Broadway girl, okay? I crochet and I like to cook and I like to be out at my house.
You got chickens.
I have chickens to take care of.
Come on.
So, yes, I call myself Yeehaw Meemaw. I'm one part Yeehaw, but mainly Meemaw. So that's why I like Ole Red.
You know what? This is how I know the interview is going well, because we're starting to learn new terminology and we're also learning all your favorite spots.
Yes.
But speaking of which, we do have a section on our show called Crowd Noise, where fans of you have submitted questions.
Okay.
So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with Crowd Noise, and then I got my last 2 questions.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about your Walk the Line segment, which is a performance, I hear,
Yeah.
that you're going to do here, and I'm excited to learn more about that song.
Okay, awesome.
All right, we'll be right back after this.
What is a moment or an interview that you had that was really just like a pinch me, I'm dreaming moment?
A moment or an interview?
Yes.
Does it need to be a moment and an interview?
It could be whatever you want, but a pinch me, I'm dreaming moment, because and we're gonna talk about the Opry in a minute, but
A pinch me, I'm dreaming moment was when I got to hear Ricky Skaggs and Vince Gill singing on one of my songs on my debut album, Can't Hide Country.
stop it.
And even on top of that, I got a text message from Ricky. And after he put his vocal on the song, he sent me this big old long text that was so sweet. And I don't know if you can frame a text message, but I want to still to this day frame that. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to frame that text.
Have you posted the text message?
No, I haven't posted it.
Oh, I'm just asking.
But but I want to screenshot it, take it to Walgreens, print it out, and put it in a frame in my house because it was so sweet. He told me that he absolutely loved the song, that my vocal was great, and he said it really fires me up hearing country music like this again. And he said maybe one day me, you, and Vince can all be at the Grand Ole Opry together and we can sing this one. And I was like, what? What? So that was a big pinch me moment.
Well, you talk about 18 appearances at the Grand Ole Opry. I think that's the
Yeah.
most I've ever had in the show. That is absolutely...
That's cool.
That's mind-boggling. I mean, first of all, do you think that it's going to mean more when it hits 20? Or I'm always wondering, what does that feel like to play the Grand Ole Opry 18 times? And is it still an outer-body experience every single time?
Yeah, it feels like the first time, every time. Because I've done it 18 times at this point, and every time I do it, I think like, okay, I'm going to feel more comfortable this time. I'm going to feel more just like, oh, this is just old hat, you know? And I never feel that way. Every single time standing side stage, about to walk out on that stage, I'm thinking, do they have the right girl? Are they sure they want me? It's just a wild feeling, and that place means so much to me. I got to go for the first time as a little girl, and I remember like it was like going to church because I picked out my best dress and my best cowboy boots, and I knew it was such a big deal, and it was a big deal for Mom and Daddy to get us tickets. That was huge. And so now being able to stand on that stage and think there could be a young girl out there just like me that maybe I get to inspire, it just feels like anything at the Opry feels like you're getting to like carry the torch a little bit, you know, like all the ones that came before you are cheering you on, and now you get to hopefully inspire the ones that'll come after you.
And you know, what are some future goals you got? CMA Fest is coming up. Mm-hmm. And do you know the stage that you're performing in CMA Fest?
Yes, I'm playing the reverb stage.
Have you noticed that it's been leveling up every time?
It has been leveling up, thank goodness. I want to level up before I level down. So, yeah, that's been really cool to see. And this year, it was really exciting because every year that I've played CMA Fest, I'm like, am I going to get on CMA Fest? There's plenty of years that I didn't, that I've been in town and I did not get on CMA Fest. But this year, I didn't even have that thought. Like, it's like, I don't know if I was busy on the Blake tour. I was busy on the Blake tour. That's when I found out that I was going to be back on CMA Fest. But I just got an email that said, like, okay, you're slotted to play the reverb stage. And I was like, oh, I ain't even had time to worry about that yet. So that's good. So yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of that again. And gosh, my goals for this year are to make more music, which is wild because last year when my album came out, and even at the first part of this year, I didn't even want to write for like a new project because I had worked so long for Can't Hide Country, and then it came out and I wanted it to have its moment, and it's like I couldn't let myself think what's next. But now that I've been able to go out and play those songs out on the road and be on this tour and see them connecting with folks, now I've got the bug and I'm like, okay, I want to do more. You know, I can't wait for what's next. And so I'm really excited. Now that I'm home and we're just doing shows on the weekends again, I've got time to write during the weeks. And so that's a big goal for me this year, is to have even more music come out. And I'm really excited. I think that it'll be a really good year.
Well, you know, I'm also curious, how many songs did not make the album?
Oh, a lot.
What does an artist do with that music? So, for example, obviously a deluxe is coming out very soon. April 19th.
Yes.
And one thing I'm curious about is how many songs are included in the deluxe versus the original album. Mm-hmm. And I'm still not going to let you leave here without telling me how many songs did not make the cut.
Well, so the original album had 13 songs. The deluxe has 3 new songs, so it'll have 16 songs total. And there are, I don't even, there's too many to count. There are probably hundreds of songs that did not make. I've been in town writing for, gosh, 8 years. I mean, it was when I first came to town and started writing. And some of the songs that are on Can't Hide Country are newer songs that I've written in the past year or so. But other songs I wrote years and years ago that I've just had and held on to that never got cut. And so there have been a lot of songs in between every single one that got cut that I don't know if they'll live on a future project, or I don't know if maybe somebody else could cut them one day, or maybe they were just stepping stones. Some of them are good, and some of them are horrible. Some of them don't need to see the light of day. But you know, it takes writing songs that might be not as good to get to the really good ones. And so there were a lot that got passed over.
And how does that go? So quickly, what is it like to pick the ones that are for sure the ones? Even in the deluxe, because the deluxe has 3 more. What was the process like to skim through and find the 3 that deserve to be on the deluxe album?
You know, there were 2 songs that I knew deserved to be on the deluxe album, because one of them was in the running for the original record, and I ended up picking something else, and that's my song Back Home. That song, I've been playing it live, and I really wanted that to be on the first cut of Can't Hide Country, but then I knew that it could be on the deluxe, and so that was one that I knew was going to be on the project. Then there was another song that I ended up writing after Can't Hide Country came out. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know where it was going to live, but I knew I wanted it to be out in the world. And that's a song called When I'm Gone. And I wrote that with Autumn McIntyre, and I love that song so much. And I'm really hoping that people will connect with it the way that I connect with it, because it means so much to me. And then the last one was one that I had always loved, and I thought about putting it on Can't Hide Country, but then I thought about saving it, and I was back and forth. And so really the process just goes with me overthinking until I finally make a decision, because I do have so many songs that I love that mean different things to me. But all in all, what I was thinking was like, what are the last things that I want to say on this project? You know, this is another opportunity to get a final word in. And so what do I want to say? And so that's what really kind of made me make my mind up about these 3 songs. And that last one's called Working on Love, and it's just all about working on love and being into, you know, being willing to put the hard work in relationships. And that's something that I feel like we don't hear a lot of in music anymore. Everything's like, I hate you and you broke my heart, bye. So that song is a different message, and I love being able to share that one.
Well, speaking of message, my last two questions on the show, and this is the most important question.
Okay.
So speaking of messages and people that didn't believe in that vision, right? So I love to talk about, these guys know this, I love to talk about hate at the end of the interview because I think it's important that everyone has haters, everyone has doubters, everyone has imposter syndrome. How do you not let that get to you? How do you not let that fully affect you? Because you have a large following, you have a lot of people that have opinions on what you do. You've been on TV, you've been in every stage possible almost. How do you not let that affect your mental? And for the folks out there today that have imposter syndrome or just have doubts, they don't have that moment, they want that momentum to take the next step. What are some answers there?
Well, for me, there are plenty of comments that are hateful. And there are plenty of folks that are willing to be hateful online. But something that helps me not let that slow me down is I know that none of what they say defines me. I know who I am. And I'm thankful that I know that my worth doesn't come from how good I do in my job. And that's just for me personally. And some people don't feel that way. Some people find their worth in their job and find their worth in their performance. But for me, my worth is not defined by everybody loving me or people hating me. And so that's what helps me to not let that crush me. Because there have been plenty of comments that are hateful. I remember CMT posted a video of me singing Whole Lotta Little, one of my favorite songs. And I thought that it was so fun. And somebody commented, there were so many good comments, but there was one comment that said, do you have to squeeze her to make her sound like that? Like a squeak toy. And at first I was like, oh no, I suck. And it didn't matter how many good comments there were. Of course, the only one that I cared about was the one that was hateful. And I've learned okay, Emily, you can't just focus on the negative. There's going to be plenty of negative comments, and there's going to be more as I continue to do this. And for anybody chasing a dream, for anybody doing something against the grain, there's going to be negative comments come your way. There's going to be haters come your way. But if you know that you're doing what you're doing and you have a purpose in doing it, and you keep on doing it, don't let them drag you down. The best piece of advice that was given to me was to always be true to myself and to not try to be anybody else. And that's what I would give to anybody watching this. If there's anything that you're chasing that you want to do and it's on your heart to do it, then you do it, and you do it the way that God made you to do it. Because that's what really cuts through. And there's plenty of folks out there that want to just be like everybody else. And that's when life gets boring, and it's very boring.
Well, I love that. Now, we have a section on the show called Walk the Line, and in your Walk the Line today, you're going to be performing a song, and I'm super excited. So give us a little intel about that song. Goodness gracious, I've been watching my Gary Ashton episode too much. Intel. Give us some intel on that song and just why you're singing it today here in the heart of the Gulch.
Yeah. Well, if it's okay, I was thinking about doing a song that's been out for a while, but I think it might be fun to do one off the deluxe that I haven't done, if that's okay. I think that would be fun, if you're good with that.
I'm looking at the decision makers over here.
Okay, good. I want to do that because we've talked about it, and I think that it would be fun. And especially with all that we're talking about, I want to do a song called When I'm Gone. And it's off the deluxe project, and I haven't really played it out anywhere. And so I think that it'd be fun to do. And I wrote this song with Autumn McIntyre, and I wrote it after going to a family member's funeral because I realized when his friends and family were all talking about his life, nobody talked about, how many promotions he had at work, or how much money he made, or the awards that he had on his shelf. Nobody cared about any of that. The things they talked about were that he was the best friend and the best father, and he could make anybody laugh, and he could brighten anybody's day. And I left thinking, I spend so much of my life trying to climb the ladder and trying to get to the next place in my job and in my career, and trying to achieve success. But one day I'm not going to be here anymore. And what's going to matter then? Is all that stuff going to matter? Is that what my family's going to hold on to? Awards and accolades and accomplishments? Or are they going to think about the stuff that that really matters, and that's the love and the relationships and the memories that we share, and that's why I wrote that song. And so,
Well, I'm excited to hear it. That was a you surprised me right now with that too. So
surprise.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm excited. But the way that we tee it off, and we'll fade it into you performing your song right now. It's called Walk the Line. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna look straight into that camera right there.
Okay.
You're gonna say your name and say, "This is how I walk the line," and then cue into your song. You ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
All right. So after the applause here.
I'm Emily Ann Roberts, and this is how I walk the line. He was my father's cousin, and mine twice removed. A family man, hard-working, that left this world too soon. I sat in the church pew, tears filled up my eyes, as all his friends and family talked about his life. They said he was the best friend a man could ever have, a son and a husband, a jokester and a dad. And it sure got me thinking as they laid his body down, what story will be told when my time comes around? When I'm gone, will they care how much money that I made? Will my success or failure be the measure of my days? Or was my love all that mattered all along? Oh, what will they say about me when I'm gone? I wanna think they have no doubt how much I really care. Or have I been too busy? Have I been more gone than there? Nobody lives forever, and it's starting to sink in. The way I'm living now will be the way they tell it then. When I'm gone, will they care how much money that I made? Will my success or failure be the measure of my days? Or was my love all that mattered all along? Oh, what will they say about me when I'm gone? When I'm gone, will they care how much money that I made? Will my success or failure be the measure of my days? Or was my love all that mattered all along? Oh, what will they say